It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're listening or watching. I hope you're doing all right today. I want to give a special shout out to all of our, they're still pretty new, but all you viewers on Holyfield TV. We're glad to be part of Holyfield Television sports programming, and we'd like to hear from you. Drop us an email, billy@talkinboxing, TALKINBOXING. And don't forget, if you want to watch or listen to the show on your handheld, make sure you download our app. It's free. Just go to Fight, that's F-I-T-E, fight.tv/Billy C. That's fight.tv/Billy C. and download our app today. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located on beautiful St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out his website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's Island, Georgia, to get a decent slice of pizza and fantastic Italian cuisine. And don't forget, if you're in the WGIG listener area in Brunswick, Georgia, swing by Sal's. Mention Billy C and get a free cannoli. Yeah, I just threw that in. Sal loves that. And hey, if you're heading back north on I-95, or if you're going south, don't forget, you can go by Sal's. It's literally a 15-minute out-of-your-way detour off of I-94. Just visit the website for the address, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by Fire Fan. You like sports fantasy games? How about sports fantasy games for every single sport? And you can do all kinds of great stuff. And we got a deal for you. Hey, we can let you sign up for free and win money. Yeah, you can win money without laying out a nickel. Visit our website, www.billycboxing.com, and click on the Fire Fan banner, which is located on the right-hand side with all the other banners. And speaking of banners, sign up for Gawk Box. What is it? Can save you money, plus give you stuff for free, and help us out. You want to help us out? Go create an account on Gawk Box. Visit our website, www.billycboxing.com, and click on the Gawk Box banner. And finally, today's show is being brought to us in part by, you guessed it, my book. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. You can get a copy by visiting barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Find out why we got a 5-star rating across the board. And trust me, you'll love this book. Now, if you like to get signed copies, visit our website, billycboxing.com, and click on the book. You can't miss it. It's actually above Sal's banner for Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria, thanks to Sal and Jeremy C. I think they cut a side deal or something. But anyway, coming up in a little bit, we're going to have Dax Khan join us a little bit later on the show. Give some thoughts on some of the fights this weekend. The big news today was it was made official yesterday. Conor McGregor signed to fight Floyd Mayweather. The deal is done. Well, sort of. The deal on Conor McGregor's side is done. As far as the fight itself, not so much. And I was amazed yesterday to see on all the mainline sports shows, including ESPN and First Take and everything else. These guys are already talking about the fight, how much it's going to do, who can do what to win, and all this stuff. And I'm shaking my head and I'm going, what are you talking about? Joining me right now to give me and you his thoughts. He's a New Jersey Boxing Hall of Famer. He's a Guinness Book of World Record holder. He can throw a pizza from here to the moon and back a couple of times and still cook it the right way. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, childrens of all ages, please welcome the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sal Rocky Senicola. Good morning, Sal.
Good morning, Bill. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing all right. We had a big storm yesterday, and it kind of blew by us. I mean, I got some high winds and stuff like that, but man, did it rip up some stuff right around us. Don't mess. Remember the old commercial? Don't mess with Mother Nature. It's the truth, right? I mean, geez, you guys got hit with a couple of bad ones last year too down there, right?
We did. Of course, we had that Hurricane Matthew that really did a bad display of weather. It was bad. It was really bad. We had to evacuate the island. We evacuated the island. It's unbelievable.
When you guys had the not to change the subject, but when you guys had that storm, anybody that hasn't visited Sal's restaurant yet, you don't know what you're missing, and I highly recommend you get down there pretty quickly. But he's got this giant, beautiful tree, right? Sal, it's like growing out of your building, right? And I don't know how that lasted with that storm. I've always said to myself, man, you're so lucky, man. That would have taken out, forget about the pizza oven, that would have taken out the whole place, right?
Let me tell you, devastating. I used to sell insurance, and I had my securities license. I was with Northwestern Mutual Life. That's a little plug. I love it. Anyway, what happened was, there's another lines of insurance, property and casualty, P&C. So my agent comes by every year. Now, you would not believe the kind of policies you've got to surround yourself with in today's business environment. You've got down here, you don't have hurricane, but you have something for a storm. You have water rising, known as flood insurance. You have water by rain. You have wind. You can't have wind and hail by a hurricane or twister. It's got to be something separate. And then every year he points out, he says, Sal, now if this tree should ever fall on your roof and devastate and knock your whole building out, and you put you guys out of work for months, he goes on and on and on. So for the premium, I say, yeah, I guess so. Throw it in, because it looks like that tree is. I think of the red wolf. He's gonna huff and puff and blow the tree down.
He ain't blowing that tree down, obviously.
I'll tell you what, not that tree.
But when it does, you'll be out of business for a while. But anyway, yesterday, Sal, it came out. We had been talking about it. We knew it was close, but yesterday it was announced, at least by Dana White of the UFC, that he's come to terms and the fight is signed, sealed, and delivered as far as Conor McGregor's side is concerned. No terms were announced or anything. I still don't believe that the fight could happen because Dana White has never experienced anything like dealing with Team Mayweather to get this signed, sealed, and delivered. But I was amazed to see the coverage that was given to this, and so as far as giving Conor McGregor chances. Stephen A. Smith was saying, Mayweather, is the best. He's going to school him. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. But he says, remember, Tommy Hearns was a great fighter, and he was fighting a brawler in Iran Barkley, and he was schooling him, and all of a sudden Barkley comes out of nowhere and knocks him out. And he was alluding to the fact that Conor McGregor is a seek and destroy type fighter and was actually trying to make it like it was going to be a competitive fight, which I don't think it would be. My question to you is, I know how you feel about it, but do you think that Floyd is going to actually give them terms that are reasonable, workable terms and get this fight done? I mean, do you think? Forget about all of the stumbling blocks we've talked about, and the biggest one that I have, and the first, I'm going to be the first person to reach out to the Nevada State Athletic Commission if the fight is indeed in the state of Nevada, if they approve the fight, and I'm going to want reasons why. So aside from the fact that a 49-0 guy is fighting a pro debut, do you think Team Mayweather will make their terms agreeable? Will they be realistic for Dana White and Conor McGregor?
No, I doubt they will. They'll be workable, but they will not be agreeable. And don't forget, this is an elitist fighter out there in Floyd Mayweather. And he views this in his position and his world that they need him more than he needs them. And even though it could be a mega fight, a mega display, a mega whatever you want to call it, mega circus, I don't know. It's going to be pretty much, I bet, predicated on Floyd Mayweather's terms. Where it is, the size of the ring, the gloves, the everything. You watch. And, I think if McGregor wants it, he's going to concede these things here. And Floyd, being the elitist he is going to demand things that are going to be almost impossible. But again, this is something bigger than what we can imagine right now. And McGregor may concede to some things. Will they be in Floyd's favor? Of course. But will it have a certain result that it's going to favor Floyd? Of course, that's the end goal. But, McGregor's always he always will have a puncher's chance. And if he's that kind of aggressive guy, and if don't, he's going to probably, even with the boxing rules in effect, he's going to ask for permission before he asks for, he's going to ask for forgiveness before he asks for permission if he should throw an elbow or sweep a leg or do something. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? That's why it could be exciting. But you will always give an opponent a puncher's chance. And if this guy can land, if he's an animal, if he's going to charge the ring like a bull, and you never know what's going to happen.
The thing that, let me ask you this. Money. Let's talk about money for a second.
Money.
And here, the news, and both of these teams, Team Dana White / Conor McGregor and Team Mayweather, are experts at manipulating the media and the fans, okay?
Absolutely.
So we get this announcement. They're talking about it on mainstream sports networks and what have you, given, starting to break down the fight and everything. And Floyd isn't close to signing. We haven't even heard the terms or anything of first of all, the signing was the agreement between the UFC and Conor McGregor. So the point is this, I just asked you, if they would even come close to agreeing with whatever terms Mayweather's going to throw out, and we all agree that Mayweather's going to have some crazy options that he's going to want. But from Conor McGregor's perspective, he's already cut a deal with Dana White. There's no terms have been disclosed, so I don't know if it's a dollar figure, if it's a percentage figure, whatever the deal is. Isn't he at this point saying to himself he's going to make more money than he could ever make in the UFC, and he doesn't care what Floyd asks for, give it to him. If he wants the gloves, the ring size, the location, the split, all of these things. Does it really matter to Conor McGregor? I mean, here's a case where the UFC, a league, has cut a deal with one of its entities, in this case a fighter, and his money's kind of already set. And does he have the mindset, well, hey, I'm going to get what I get. I don't care about anybody else. Or does he get caught up and start hearing numbers being thrown around, then all of a sudden feels that he's being ripped off, that he could have gotten more? I mean, what's going through his mind, in your opinion?
Right now, after the fact, that may happen when everything is signed, sealed, before they deliver. However, going into this, right now, he is doing just what you suggested. He's looking at the ultimate payday that he's he's entitled to, he's facing, he's being teased along with. So it doesn't matter as long as there's six figures in there. He knows he's not going to generate that kind of money no matter what he does in the UFC. And I think that fighting Floyd Mayweather is going to give him an opportunity to achieve the monetary status that he would otherwise never realize. So I think that's going to be a big relief and satisfying thing in his mind. And you know what? If he is a warrior, like I said, I love going to when I was younger into someone's favored backyard and boom, beating them up or something, and winning and taking everything and running. And that's his mentality. It's got to be his mindset because it's going to be on Floyd's terms. And the thing is, if he can keep in mind, hey, guess what? I'm making millions. I'm going in there. I'm fighting. This is going to be all eyes on us. And it's not going to matter for him. He's going to do that. He's going to have a pit bull mentality. He's going to have the blinders on. And like I said, when the dust clears and he wakes up, maybe he'll say, you know what? I sold myself short. I could have done this. I could have done that. But the bottom line is no. He'll concede what he can concede and give it to Floyd just to get the opportunity, get the big payday and everything else. And that's what I feel.
Well, there's a lot of things that are going into this fight that haven't even been discussed in terms of how it's going to be logistically and stuff like that. I'm going to bring some of those up. We're going to take a short break here. I'm going to bring some of those up here in a second, Sal. Then we got some fight results from last night. We got some updates on Miguel Cotto. You know, we talk about divas in boxing, right? Miguel Cotto's, you know, him and Andre Ward. I still believe Andre Ward's the biggest diva in boxing, but Miguel Cotto is right there next to him. Then we're going to break down and give our predictions on the big fights this weekend, specifically Crawford Diaz and Davis Walsh. Those are the ones I'm going to break down. I'll give my predictions on all the fights, plus another fight that means a lot for the cruiserweight division that's kind of flying under the radar. We'll have Dax Khan join us in a little bit. All of that stuff is coming up in a little bit, but we're going to take a short break right now. We'll be back I'm going to predict 2 minutes, so we'll be right back. 2 minutes,
you got it.
Billy C will be right back.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today, and we're glad we're with you. Yeah, that's true. Don't forget about checking out our website, especially on your handheld, www.billycboxing.com. I'm here with Sal Rocky Senecola, and some of the other things I wanted to throw out about the potential Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather fight. Remember something. This fight, from what I understand, would be pretty much promoted mainly by the UFC. Yes, Mayweather Promotions will be involved, et cetera, but the UFC is like one of the driving forces behind it. And they have their own pay-per-view. So right off the bat, an agreement's going to have to be made because Floyd Mayweather is associated with Showtime pay-per-view. So right off the bat, there's going to be an issue there. We have the money split. There'll be an issue there. Not the Conor McGregor side. He's already agreed to that. So you got a couple of issues that have to be overcome. Then, for them to come out and say that they have a fight signed, sealed, and delivered without even a location, like I was saying the other day, I mean, with the way commissions work, Sal, you got to request a date first. Then you have to, propose the fight, and they have to approve the date, the fight, all of that stuff. I mean, I still predict that this fight won't happen. And, by the way, most of the people that I've talked to, unless they're MMA fans that are just young, blind fans that just love their sport, which I give them credit for, most knowledgeable boxing people don't give Conor McGregor any kind of a chance. So my question basically is, who's going to pay for this? They're talking about, exceeding and coming close to Mayweather Pacquiao, 4 points, whatever it was, 6 million buys. I don't see it. I see a lot of people that are still pissed about that particular fight and how anticlimactic it was, and this is going to be no different, Sal. Well, Sal, I lost Sal because I can thank my man Dax for that because he had called in and when he wasn't supposed to and knocked my man out of the knocked him out of our loop here. But nonetheless, we got my man Sal back here. Let me guess, you answered when Dax called, right?
I didn't touch anything. No, I swear. It just dropped. I didn't even know Dax called.
I didn't. Okay.
Touch
Don't play. Don't be sticking up for Dax.
No,
Don't be sticking up for
I didn't know
Dax.
Dax was on.
Anyway, so you missed the question. So we're gonna move forward. Well, no. I mean, I just think that there's a lot of other tangibles involved. I still don't think the fight will happen. I still think that if it does, I don't know if a lot of people are going to I think there's going to be a lot of people that refuse to pay the money. What do you think?
Yeah, it depends. If they're going to ask for $120, it's going to be a rough one to buy on a lot of levels. But you'll see a lot of the guys getting together, planning parties. Hey, let's get together. Let's do this. Let's chip in. Let's buy this. It'll happen. If it happens, Bill, it'll happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, if it rains, that's sort of like if it rains, it's gonna rain. Yeah. Anyway, some fights that took place last night in Arizona. Diego De La Hoya improved to 18-0 with 9 knockouts when he scored a 10-round unanimous decision over Eric Ruiz, who drops to 16-7-1 with 6 knockouts. The way the judges saw it, 2 of them had it 100-90. The third had it 99-91. When is this kid going to step up? I see that he needs a lot of work, but I guess Ruiz wasn't a bad step up, but I think it's just showing us that he's a long way off. So anybody that's rushing him into a major fight, slow it down because this kid is a long way away from fighting a top guy. In the super middleweight division, the co-main event, Demetrius Ballard improved to 17-0 with 12 knockouts when he scored a 10-round unanimous decision over Adrian Luna Flores. With all due respect to both fighters, Flores was a late substitute in this one. Flores drops to 20 wins, 5 losses, and a draw. The way the judges scored that one, 97-92. And 2 of them had it a lot closer, 95-94. And by the way, Demetrius Ballard dropped Luna down in the second round. So those two scores that were only off by a point included the knockdown. So what does that tell you? Maybe Big Meech Ballard needs to get a little better himself. Some other news, Sal. We got a couple of divas in the sport. The two top divas, in my opinion, Andre Ward and this guy, Miguel Cotto. According to multiple reports, Miguel Cotto has walked away from Rock Nation. This is another situation where a fighter does not fulfill his contract. If you recall, Miguel Cotto was a warrior, and I loved Miguel Cotto. But, he changed. He, like so many other fighters, wanted to try and copy Floyd Mayweather's success by calling all of his shots and picking his opponents, et cetera, et cetera. It was reported that he was in camp training with Freddie Roach for a fight that was tentatively scheduled for June 24th. No one had heard about it, against Yoshiro Kamagagi. And according to reports, Miguel Cotto said, well, I'd never signed for this fight, and walked out of camp. As a result, he's parted ways with Rock Nation. If you recall, he signed a 3-fight deal with Rock Nation, reportedly worth $50 million plus a record contract. And he's only fought 2 of those 3 fights. One of them was against Daniel Geale, the other Canelo Alvarez. And this would have been another, Daniel Geale-ish type show. What's your thoughts on Cotto not living up to his contract and walking away, walking out of camp? What's your thoughts on this, Sal?
The prize always has to be worth the price. And you could go back to the old adage saying contracts were made to be broken. But the bottom line is no, they're made to be fulfilled. And the bottom line is that's why you put them in place. I think it's just what you're looking at. Here's a guy who, is off the cuff. He'll do whatever he feels he wants to do, no matter what direction the wind's going to blow.
I just think,
I think it's
any athlete that signs a contract, the time to negotiate is before you sign the contract.
That's right.
If the contract isn't what you like, you don't sign it. Unless somebody's got a gun to your head, which I hope that's never the case, but you don't sign the contract. End of story. These guys that sign a contract and then once they're in it, and I'm not just talking about Miguel Cotto or any other fighter, any athlete that signs a contract.
I think baseball, I know.
And then all of a sudden they decide, oh, it's not good for me. It's not good for me no more. And then they want to hold out or they walk away or something. And what's even worse is sometimes they go to court and like the Canelo Alvarez situation. People forget, he kind of screwed his first promoter, and he went to court and lost, and he still hasn't paid the guy. So it's not always cut and dry. But personally, I think that Miguel Cotto, his career very well might be over. Sal, what do you think?
Well, I think it's been taking that little dip, and I mean he's been around for a long, long time, and he's been there, he's done that, he's been in a lot of ring wars, and if he can't get a top-notch fight or title fight or elimination fight or something that's going to propel him in the limelight, he's still in the limelight. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him. He can have all those things, but maybe his best days are behind him, and maybe his best moves will be to maybe have 1 or 2 big fights and then get out. I don't know.
He said he was going to retire a couple of years ago. That's the joke of it.
So
all,
did I.
But anyway, let me get you guys caught up on some sports scores. Then I have a pretty interesting email from my man Mitch, which we'll get to after the break, and then we'll break down and give you our predictions on the at least 2 of the major fights for this weekend, and then we'll have Dax Khan calling in right around 9 o'clock. So here's what we got going on right now, or maybe 9:30. I don't know. Yeah, 9 o'clock for Dax. In the NHL playoffs, we got the Quack Ducks beat the Predators. The Ducks were big-time underdogs in this game. last night. They beat the Predators 3-2. Now, that series is tied up, 2 games apiece. There's nothing like playoff hockey, you know? I mean, I'm not a big hockey fan, but when the playoffs come, all bets are off. These guys, they really put on a show, like the NBA. I mean, you know, all season long, you look at, you know, the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James, and it was like mediocre. And then as soon as the playoffs happened, bam, you know, LeBron shows up and everything. Now, there was no NBA action last night, but there was some Major League Baseball action. A lot of teams travel on Thursdays, get a day off, but there were many games, and I'll give you all the scores right now. The Pirates beat the Nationals 10-4. The Tigers beat the Orioles 6-5. The Rockies and Twins had a doubleheader. The Rockies won the first game 5-1. The Twins took the second 2-0. The Rangers beat the Phillies 8-4. The Cubbies over the Reds 9-5. The Brewers beat the Padres 4-2. The Blue Jays beat the Braves 9-0. The A's over the Red Sox 8-3. The Mariners over the White Sox 5-4. The Dodgers beat the Marlins 7-2. And the Yankees, thank God, finally lost the game. The Royals beat them 5-1. So that's what took place in Major League Baseball and hockey last night. And Sal, we're going to take a short little break here, but I got an interesting email from my man Mitch, and it's pertaining to some of the things that we were talking about. And the email is actually going to be a good segue into us giving our breakdowns and predictions on 2 of the major fights scheduled for this weekend. And it had to do with the fact that Gervonta Davis apparently listens to Floyd Mayweather over his corner. And Mitch was able to back that up with some video facts that were pretty interesting. And this isn't something new. This was going on in some previous fights. You know, my big question is, why doesn't Floyd just train him? You know, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, it seems like it's going to be a distraction. And, you know, when you have the trainers starting to yes Floyd to death too, I mean, Floyd should just come and be a trainer. You know, I mean, it is what it is, right? But, hey, Sal, we're going to talk about that email, and we're going to talk about some other stuff, I would say in 2 minutes. So don't go nowhere, because we'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to to the Billy C. Show. Glad to be with you today. And don't forget about getting a copy of my book. That's right. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now. Go get it at Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. I'm here with Sal Rocky Senecola, and he's not paying attention on his phone, as you all could see, because we threw the camera on him. Hey, see,
thank you very much.
We got you. Well, you
I
should
need a
pay
little more
attention. You know, this is
did.
serious business here. This isn't a big game for everybody. I mean, come on.
I wasn't rolling any dice or gambling or
Anyway,
anything else. I'm right here.
Anyway, we got an email, so check this one out.
Go ahead.
This one's from my man Mitch. He says, okay, Billy C., I got a long email for you, but you'll appreciate it. He says, you and Sal mentioned that Tank Davis, and he's calling him Tank Davis because he doesn't want to keep typing out Gervonta Davis. So he says, Tank Davis could have been pulling your leg about listening to Floyd and not his corner. He says, but I've got some video to prove he wasn't joking. He says, first, you made two great points the other day, and both of them are true. So the first one is about, the Davis listening to Floyd. He says, I'm going to, like I just said, I'm going to use a Tank for Gervonta since it's along. He says, here's a video. And he gives me times to look at the video. And during the video, Davis actually totally ignores his trainer and listens to Floyd in between a round. Now, this was a fight. This wasn't sparring. This was a fight. And then you fast forward to a later round, and again, his trainer's talking to him, and Davis is ignoring him and looking at Floyd, who's not even in the corner. He's he's kind of off to the side, and Floyd's yelling instructions, and Davis is ignoring his trainer and listening to Floyd. Then when you go to the following round, Floyd really disrupts the corner, and this time he's out of his seat, and he's standing right behind the trainers, giving instructions to Davis, and Davis is not even looking at his corner, and Floyd's listening to him. Then when you go to the following round, Davis is not only looking at him, but his corner starts listening to him. He says, you can't even make this up. He says, it's crazy. He's not only has Davis as a student, but now his trainer is listening to Floyd. And then Floyd says something to Davis. Then Davis's trainer says, he's right. Listen to him, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, the commentators that are doing it start saying Floyd is telling him to throw more shots, and they're even following suit, right? So I mean, it's a joke, right? And then he goes on to say, when he was after the fight, the kid knocked him out. After the fight, Floyd is standing there. His corner and the rest of his team is behind the scenes. And when they asked Davis, how he won the fight, he says, and I quote, I was listening to my corner, And Mitch is saying, you can't make this stuff up, man. I mean, then he goes on to say, the second issue that we mentioned yesterday, Sal, was that we felt that Floyd would never want to play a back seat to a fighter, and that's why maybe he would never make a good trainer, not so much for his talent and teaching abilities, but because of his the E word, as Mitch uses here, ego. And once again, he says there was some articles written. Gervonta was starting to get into the limelight, and Floyd seemed to get a little bit upset. He said that Davis should move out to Vegas, and Davis at that point said no. A week later, Gervonta Davis, which was supposed to get a world title shot, this was prior to his shot, the fight got canceled, and all of a sudden there's a story out that is mentioning that the fighters don't respect Floyd and are not listening to him, et cetera, et cetera. And then all of a sudden, he's back. And he says, you're right about the ego. He says, you could have all the money in the world, Floyd, except you worry about petty stuff like this. because your ego can't handle others being successful and in the limelight. He says, it's a joke. He says, all good things will come to an end. What's your thoughts on the email, Sal? I mean, we talked about it yesterday. Gervonta Davis clearly focusing on listening to Floyd. And, I mean, Floyd's successful. I mean, it's not like he's listening to a guy that doesn't know what he's talking about. But what does that do to a training? What does that do to a team? And then, when you sprinkle in the fact that, Floyd's never going to let somebody get bigger and better than him. What do you think?
And that's true. And, like I was saying yesterday, Floyd's comments, his guidance, his input will overshadow the corner in Gervonta Davis's mind. And here's why. Gervonta Davis is aligned with a legend. Floyd has taken him like a protege. And whether he has his own agenda and goals with that whole thing, that's only Floyd that can tell and that can understand what he wants to achieve with this alignment, if you will. But the bottom line is, Gervonta Davis in the corner, he's got his guy with the water bottle, his cut man, his rah-rah, he's got everything else. It doesn't matter what they do or what they say if he has more confidence in Floyd Mayweather. And that's the bottom, and that's the end result. If he has confidence in Mayweather, and Mayweather is his antidote to feel good, to feel confident, to feel that he can listen to his instructions, and Floyd's going to guide him in the right path, that's what I'm telling you. A fighter has to have confidence in the people around him if he's going to listen. And Gervonta Davis obviously has a lot of confidence in what input Floyd will suggest. And until it proves to be different, that's going to be his number one shout is going to be, or his ear is going to be receptive to that number one voice, and that's going to be Floyd Mayweather, no matter what Floyd's own agenda is behind that.
Yeah, but the part about this that is dangerous for a fighter, and where Floyd is actually making it worse. Yeah, first of all, you've never seen the funny thing is, you never saw this with Floyd. Floyd's corners were always calm, even though he kind of was calling the shots. It was always calm in the corner, and Floyd, he doesn't practice what he preaches. He tells these guys, all the rumors we heard, they fight at the gym, these sparring sessions that are, knockout, drag-out fights, something Floyd would never do. He tells fighters, go in there and throw more punches, be more aggressive. Floyd would never do that. He doesn't do it. I saw a comment, a guy doesn't listen to the show anymore. He says, basically, he was telling me that I don't know Floyd. He says, Floyd's been knocking people, everybody, the way his word was Floyd's been knocking out everyone they put in front of him for 19 years, right? And he says, I guess you don't know that, right? Well, my comment is this. I guess you don't watch any of Floyd's fights, because when was the last time he knocked anybody out, number one? And number two, nobody puts any fighters in front of Floyd. Floyd cherry picks fighters that he wants to fight. So fighters win a lottery to fight Floyd. The truth of the matter is this, Sal. All fighters that become successful, all athletes that become successful, not just fighters, at some point, their own ego is going to take over. And they're going to think that they were, or either that they are better than everyone else, or they don't need to learn anymore or something. I mean, it's a natural evolution. And at some point, Gervonta Davis, in his case, if he starts being successful, he's going to think that maybe he's better than Floyd, or and Floyd is going to all of a sudden, in his mind, be holding him back. That's what I see. I mean, very few fighters stay humble. What's your thoughts on that?
That is a scenario that may materialize. It could happen. Right now, Gervonta Davis looks at Floyd as a legend, as an alignment that this guy's taking the time, and this guy wants to see me become great. This guy wants to see, and he's going to listen to him, like I said. But you're also correct in assuming that Floyd will never want to have somebody upstage him and become a better marketing tool than he is himself. So I don't know. It is what it is. The guy's had a reign of success right now. He's got the Floyd in his ear and in his corner. And if that's what gives him the confidence to go out there and do what he's got to do, and some of the comments may be helpful or not, I'd say let him ride that horse and let him be a man and decide where he has to go later on in life.
Leave Floyd's women out of this. Come on, he's been riding plenty of horses. All right, let's talk about the big fights this weekend. But first, there's a fight that's taking place on Saturday in the cruiserweight division, and it's taking place in Poland. I'm sorry, it's taking place in Monaco, but it's featuring the Polish fighter Krzysztof Wlodarczyk. He's a former world champion. As a matter of fact, this is the guy David Haye ducked and left the division. So, I've always called David Haye a fraud, not just at the heavyweight. He ducked the top guy in the cruiserweight division as well. But Krzysztof Wlodarczyk, who's no spring chicken, record of 52 wins, 3 losses, with 37 of his wins coming by knockout, is fighting Noel Gever, who's undefeated, 22-0 this Saturday, with the winner going on to fight the current IBF world champion, Murat Gassiev, who's 24-0 with 17 knockouts. Actually, the fight is, I'm wrong. The fight, I'm not sure where exactly the fight is this weekend. I think it is in Poland or Germany. It's in one of those two places. I don't have it here. But the Monaco fight is actually the winner of this fight. Not only is going to be the mandatory opponent for Murat Gassiev, but also will be involved in the tournament, the cruiserweight tournament that's taking place in Monaco, where the winner of that wins a ton of money. So big fight in the cruiserweight division. I love the cruiserweight division, and I certainly hope that we get an opportunity to watch it some way, some shape or form. But let's jump to the fights this weekend. We will start off with the Gervonta Davis fight, since we've been talking so much about that, against Liam Walsh. And we talked a little bit about this fight yesterday, Sal. And, don't get me wrong. I think Gervonta Davis has a lot of talent. He's currently the IBF World Junior Lightweight Champion. He is only 22 years old. He's ranked at number 10 in the world by the computer, and he's 17-0 with 16 knockouts, which gives him a 94% KO ratio. Now, of his 17 fights, like I said yesterday, I give him credit. I mean, I give him credit for all the wins, but 2 of the fights out of 17, they were all either below average or above average. And the 2 guys that I give him credit for, Sal, was first Cristobal Cruz, who he fought in October of 2015. And Cristobal Cruz, his best days were long behind him, and he actually stopped Cruz. And that shows you one of 2 things. Either Gervonta Davis is real good, or what I think more is that Cristobal Cruz was totally shot by the time he fought him. But nonetheless, you got to give credit where credit's due, and Gervonta Davis beat Cristobal Cruz. Now, he followed that fight with a couple of good performances against mediocre opposition like Luis Sanchez, 17-4-1, Guillermo Avila, 16-5, and Mario Antonio Macias, who he knocked out in the very first round, 28-18. So really, he wasn't tested after a big test, in my opinion, against Cruz. But then he fought, and he earned his shot at Jose Pedraza, who was undefeated and was, had a huge height and reach advantage over Davis. No disrespect to Davis, but Jose Pedraza did not fight the right fight. He did not utilize his height and reach advantage, and subsequently, he fought Davis's fight. Davis looked fantastic in this fight, Sal, and he ended up stopping Jose Pedraza in the 7th round to win the world title. Now, he's a southpaw, like we said yesterday, and he steps in with another southpaw, Liam Walsh. And Liam Walsh He's going to be going into this fight with a 9-year age disadvantage. He's 9 years older, but he does have a 1.5-inch height and reach advantage, which I'm not so sure will come into play. That does not seem to bother Davis, as he proved in his last fight against Jose Pedraza. The computer sees Liam Walsh at number 18, so he's 8 spots below Gervonta Davis. Although I don't believe that Liam Walsh has faced anyone of the caliber of Jose Pedraza, I do believe he's faced a lot more tougher opposition throughout his career. He's got some wins over Scott Harrison, Gary Skykes, Andre Kilimov in his last fight. He fought Troy James, which is a tough guy. Joe Murray, he fought a couple of times, who's a tough guy. I think he fought tougher opposition, but not as good as Jose Pedraza. So when I look at this fight, I look at Liam Walsh. He's the hometown guy in the UK, Sal. We always know how these guys are in the UK. The fans, something Davis has never been subjected to. I think Walsh is, prepared for the fight. He actually let his child be born while he was in camp. He's been totally consumed with winning the fight. So mentally he's prepared. Physically he's prepared. When you come to the talent, it always brings me back when I look at a fight like this to my favorite essay written by Jack London. It's called A Piece of Steak. And it's about basically youth versus age inside the ring. And in this case, even though I think Liam Walsh has a lot of things going for him, the one thing he does not have going for him is father time. And I think Gervonta Davis can overcome some of the talent of Liam Walsh that he's going to face. And because of his youth, and as long as he's doesn't get too confused with instructions coming from Mr. Mayweather and, instructions coming from his corner, I'm picking Gervonta Davis to win this fight. And I have high hopes for Davis. I hope he stays on the straight and narrow and doesn't get too much caught up into the hype, which seems to be happening now. I hope he gets grounded, maybe even get beat up a little bit before he wins. Maybe that'll change him a little bit. But Sal, how do you see this fight going, and who's your official prediction?
Well, my I'll tell you what, that was a great breakdown, and I'll tell you what I like about a 31-year-old. Yes, he still has a lot of horsepower left, but he's got the life experience, he's got the ring experience, and he knows his limitations, and he knows what he can call on upon his body and mind. He's been in the trenches. He's been in some fights that he will be in familiar territory, not happening for the first time. So I like that all in his corner, no pun intended, that he will bring to this fight, along with the hometown advantage, along with the fans, along with pride, along with a new birth of a child. He's got a lot to live for, a lot to fight for. And those are all the attributes and all the facets that this guy's going to enter the ring with. And, do not be surprised if there is an upset with him winning this fight. But on the other hand, you're going to have a young, bold, fearless warrior in Gervonta Davis, who, again, is confident, willing to come to someone's backyard because he knows he has in his heart of hearts his ability, his skill, his power to face anybody. Plus, he has Mayweather. So you're going to see this fierce young lion who hasn't tasted any defeat or anything like that yet, going in someone else's backyard. And I do pick Gervonta Davis to win. But I will also say with eye on, do not be surprised if there's an upset. And we have Walsh winning.
Yeah, hey, I hope you're right, and not because I don't like Davis. I think that maybe that could help him. And this is where the misconception is with a lot of young boxing fans out there today. A loss doesn't necessarily hurt a fighter. Sometimes it's the best thing for them. Other fighters, not so much. I mean, it all depends on the fighter. Now, a fight that I'm looking forward to because I love watching him fight is Terence Crawford against Felix Diaz. Terence Crawford, I got some quotes, some final press conference quotes. Terence Crawford said, "I'm excited to be fighting in the Garden's main arena and following in the steps of great fighters, legends, if you will." He says, "I'm proud to continue this tradition. I don't feel any pressure fighting at the Garden. The ring, no matter where it is, always feels like home to me. I just keep winning. If I keep winning, then the opportunities for me will get even bigger, and the big fights will present themselves. But this is really a big fight to me. Diaz is a worthy challenger, and if you can't bring just any fight to the Garden," he says he's a worthy challenger, and you can't just bring any fight to the Garden. "I didn't get this far without winning. I'm ready for any opportunities at 140 or 147, he says. "I want to put on a show for everyone Saturday, and I will make a statement." Felix Diaz says, "I'm up for the challenge. I really believe this will be a war on Saturday night. I'm going to have massive support from my fellow Dominicans. I got a great chance of winning this fight. I see a lot of weaknesses in his game that I know I can take advantage of. He's one of the best, but I have fought at welterweight, and he hasn't. I believe I have the power to hurt him. I'm used to coming in as an underdog. I've done it my whole career." First and foremost, I look at these two quotes, Sal, and I see Terence Crawford underestimating Diaz, and I see Diaz just happy to be there. I'm reading in between the lines a lot with these quotes, and they're trying to be respectful and stuff, but I can't help but see that Felix Diaz just is acting like he's happy to be there, and Terence Crawford is just going through another step in the process. Before I do the breakdown, what's your thoughts on the quotes?
Exactly what you said. Diaz is just glad to have this opportunity to fight in one of the greatest legendary arenas, Madison Square Garden, along with a notable world champion that has proven to be a commodity worth betting on. And so he's going to go in as the underdog, but don't put it past his ability to pull an upset here, too. Crawford, he's glad to be there as well. He's got the skill. He's got the ability. And he certainly would be the favorite to win. But just like we looked at Davis and Walsh, do not be too surprised if the underdog winds up being the victor. I don't think Crawford's going to lose. I think he's too smooth, too polished, and he knows what's at stake. I think he'll collect his thoughts and his confidence, and his fists will do the talking. His defense will be superior, and Davis is going to try. He's going to make it a good fight, and you'll see some good exchanges. But in the end, I will pick Crawford. But again, I have to say, don't be surprised if there's an upset.
Well, my breakdown and predictions are as follows. Felix Diaz, 33 years old. He's 4 years older than Terence Crawford. He's ranked at number 16 in the world at welterweight. He is going in the bigger fighter weight-wise and build-wise. He's a southpaw. He is giving up 3 inches in height and 3 inches in reach. He's got a record of 19-1 with 9 knockouts. So even though he's been in with the bigger guys, it's not like he's knocking them all out. No. And Terence Crawford has shown that he can take a punch, and he certainly can deliver a punch. Felix Diaz, when I look at his record, I see beginning in 2014, Emmanuel Larte, Adrian Granados, Gabe Rosario, Lamont Peterson, and Sammy Vasquez, all big-time opponents that he won, except for the controversial majority decision loss against Lamont, you dummy, Peterson, which he could very well be 20-0 at 9 knockouts. That's the only fight that's he's lost. So he has fought some tough opposition. He will have some fans in attendance, but he steps in with, in my opinion, a pound-for-pound fighter in Terence Crawford. He's ranked number 1 as a junior welterweight. He's currently the WBC and WBO World Junior Welterweight Champion. I don't think anybody recognizes anyone more of the junior welterweight champion than Terence Crawford. He's also a former world lightweight champion. When you look at Terrence Crawford, what amazes me about this guy is you got to go all the way back to 2013 when he fought Breeders Prescott. He was brought in as the opponent and won. Then he was brought in as the opponent against Alejandro Sanabria and won. He was brought in as an opponent against Andrei Kilimov and won. He got a shot at a world title against Ricky Burns in Scotland as the opponent and won the title. That's when the lights went off and everybody's head and said, wait a minute. Hold on there, Baba Louie. Maybe we have a good fighter here. And all of a sudden, Terrence Crawford became the A side. And he followed that up with wins over Yoriorkis Gamboa, Raimondo Beltran, Thomas Delorme, Derry Jean, Hank Lundy. Then he fought Victor Postal and John Molina. All fantastic wins. This guy has it all. He can box. He engages. He's got great footwork. He's got great defense. He's got pop. What else can I say? I'm picking Terrence Crawford in this fight. I don't see this fight going to the final bell as much as there is a possibility that Felix Diaz catches him. I just don't find it likely. I'm picking Terrence Crawford in this fight, and I believe it's going to be a typical Terrence Crawford fight. He's going to start off a little cautious. Give Felix Diaz a couple of rounds, and then he's going to lower the boom. A couple other fights here I want to mention that are important this weekend that I'm not going to break down, but I am going to give you my predictions. Gary Russell Jr. is defending his featherweight title against Oscar Escandon. You know, Gary Russell Jr., his loss against Vasily Lomachenko. Gary Russell Jr. is a guy that I like. He's flashy. He's got hand speed. But I think he's been overprotected big time. And, I think this fight kind of shows it. I mean, no disrespect to Escandon, but he's not an A-level fighter. And he's going to give Gary Russell some trouble. I don't think that this is going to be an easy fight for Gary Russell, although I am picking Russell to win this fight based on his pure boxing ability. But don't be surprised if Escandon upsets the apple cart here. But I am officially picking Gary Russell. What's your official pick on this one, Sal?
Yeah, I think Gary Russell should be able to handle Escandon on this level. But you know what? We could have a trifecta of upsets. You never know.
Yeah, well, that would be nice. Now, these next two fights I'm going to pick are actually, in my opinion, the best matched fights, and could be. Really, Gervonta Davis, Leon Walsh does have the potential. I mean, Walsh is a good fighter. I mean, he does have the potential of beating Davis because Davis is, his ego is taken. He's overconfident. And you can't be overconfident fighting a quality fighter like Leon Walsh in his backyard. So that could be a legitimate upset. But these next two fights, I really have as 50-50 fights. The first one is Jose Uzel going up against Andre Durrell. I've never been a big fan, and this is for an interim super middleweight title. I've never been a huge fan of the Durrell brothers, although it's a great story and everything else. I just think that they've been overprotected and. Some fights that they cried that they got robbed. I'm not so sure. This Usyk guy is a power puncher. Durrell is a good boxer that likes to break down his opponents. I think this is a really good matchup. A lot of people aren't giving Usyk guy much of a chance. I am. My official prediction in this fight is I think that Andre Durrell is going to get knocked out. I think that he's going to outbox Usyk guy for the first part of this fight, but I think Usyk guy is going to come back and stop Andre Durrell. This is actually my upset, my predicted upset of the week. Sal, what's your prediction in this fight?
Boy, I'll tell you, this is a good one. We're gonna be seeing some nice fights this weekend. I can't believe it. I'm going to have to say I'm going to go with Durrell. I'm going to go with Durrell.
I mean, Durrell is the favorite, and Durrell should win the fight. I just have this funny feeling, I just don't think he's busy enough, and I think Usyk guy, although he's a power puncher, and I just think it's his time. I just have this funny feeling.
right.
The other fight that I wanted to talk about real quick was David Benitez against Porky Medina. Porky Medina is a good fighter. David Benavidez is a fighter that a lot of people have high hopes for and have put him on a plateau, but he's never faced a guy like Porky Medina. This is another one of these fights that I think is a 50-50 fight. It's also an elimination fight in the super middleweight division. At the end of the day, I'm picking Benavidez. I think that this could be and should be his step-up fight, meaning this is the fight that says, okay, I am legit. It's my coming-out fight, and it's one of those defining fights. Porky Medina is an upset machine. He's done it before, and he thinks he's going to do it again. He's been quoted as saying, hey, no disrespect to Benavidez, but who's he fought? And Porky Medina's got a pretty good leg to stand on with that because he's fought top guys, and Benavidez really hasn't. But in this case, once again, I'm going with the younger fighter. I'm picking Benavidez in what might be the most exciting fight of the weekend. Sal, before we take a break, who's your official pick? David Benavidez against Porky Medina.
That's all, folks. I'm going to pick Porky.
Beep, 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 beep. That's all, folks.
But Porky Medina.
You know what? That's a safe pick. And again, at the Garden, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, some interesting fights. Now, listen, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to have Dax Khan join us, and we'll get his picks on the fights, and of course his thoughts on some other stuff, and all of that. Is coming up in about, I don't know, I'm going to predict a couple of minutes here. I know. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Tell me, Kenny, how is it you rub my belly so fine with that secret rub of yours? And don't even tell me what you're gonna do next. I love you, Kenny Bear. Tell me, Kenny baby, what you gonna do next?
Kenny Bear's Old Florida Barbecue Rub and Seasoning. Grab a bottle today.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C Show. Glad you're with us today. And speaking about being with us, joining us right now is my main man, Dax Khan. Good morning, Dax.
Good morning. How's everybody today?
I'm doing well.
Thanks.
And Sal is, talking on the phone, doing all kinds of stuff, thinking we're not watching.
Yes, I caught him.
I know. Do you like that? So you got to be careful, Dax. You never know when we're going to throw the camera on, So if you're scratching your butt or something.
Long story short, there was a show if you ever watch that show, Shark Tank, somebody on there came up with this little gadget to put over your laptop camera and to slide it over there so this way stuff like that doesn't happen, and they all shot it down. So unfortunately, I don't know if it's still available. Sal might need one of those.
I need one. You know, it's so funny. Who comes into the pizzeria is the founder of Shark Tank when he comes on the island. Yeah, he comes in with a couple other fellow sharks.
And what does he say? What does he say? Hey, Starkiss doesn't need. Starkiss doesn't look for tuna with that tastes good. Starkiss looks for good taste, or whatever. It's the other way around. Charlie Tuna, right? Charlie says. Anyway, hey,
doesn't want tuna with good taste. They want tuna that tastes good.
Yeah, I see. I told you I've become dyslexic. But anyway, first and foremost, Dax, the big talk earlier on the show and yesterday, I was shocked to hear it. I'll admit, I reached out to Dax because I'm like, Dax will let me know if this has been signed. I mean, the way they were talking about it on all the sports talk shows, I'm talking about ESPN and stuff like that, was like this fight with McGregor and Mayweather was already made. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I knew that Mayweather's side didn't do it. And I reached out to Dax. I'm like, Dax, is this fight made? And Dax is like, nay. Tell us your thoughts on what's going on with that whole situation, Dax.
I don't even know if it's ever going to happen, to be honest with you.
I don't think so.
At this point in time, I think the talk from Dana White and the way they're doing this continuously, I think that's their way of trying to bait Floyd out and try and sit there and put him in a position where if he doesn't take the fight, the fans are going to kind of say, you know what, you're ducking, you're scared, or whatever the word might want to be. But I think it's going to be a failed attempt. And if it does happen, Floyd's going to have to get paid a lot of money. But I wouldn't hope, to be honest. If it does, I would actually be disappointed it did, because it'd be nothing but a black eye for the sport.
Yeah, I don't think that the fight will happen. I think logistically there's too many issues going on. Let's jump to some of the fights this weekend, Dax. First and foremost, Gervonta Davis against Leon Walsh. How do you see that one going?
Well, I like the kid. He's, this one seems easy to pick, and yet it's also the hardest pick of the week, in my opinion. Walsh is not known in the U.S., but he's faced a very wide array of very solid UK opponents, as you mentioned before, and they've helped him become very well-rounded. The guys over there are exactly what you talk about or hear all the time. They have, even though a lot of losing records, they have a trade, boxing's a trade, and people forget that Liam Walsh has actually fought high as junior welterweight. So I think Walsh, who does have a win over Scott Harrison, as you mentioned, the former featherweight champion, he has a win over Andre Klimov, which is a very hard guy, even if you win, to look good against. Ask Terrence Crawford how hard it is to look good against Klimov. Gervonta Davis hits hard. Yeah, he's built like a little tank, as the moniker implies. The best name on his resume is Jose Pedraza. I think maybe before then, the best resume on Pedraza's name might have been Klimov, and he's the only guy I know who hasn't gotten better after facing Klimov. This comes down to how Davis fights. Does he try to fight off the ropes? Does he look for the uppercut continuously? Those punches that have allowed him to get where he is. Most importantly, how does the 22-year-old deal with Floyd talking, then the corner talking, and then all the UK fans screaming for Walsh? Exactly what happens in this kid's head. He doesn't seem like he's actually, as you stated, he's a little bit full of himself. The moment might overwhelm him. I lean towards him slightly, but something, I really won't be surprised if Walsh wins, especially because Davis's head is a little bit full of himself, and he's become more of a one or two trick pony. And the opponents that Walsh has had in the different variety. And
how much of the mental part you think is going to go into this?
It's going to be it's going to be extremely important. A lot of guys, even very seasoned fighters, accomplished world champions, have gone over to the UK, and they've kind of folded in that environment.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Sal and I were talking about that earlier. But Sal, do you think that that not only the crowd, but if Walsh does start making it a rough night, that for Davis, does Davis is this a good opportunity for him to reach down and show us what he's made of, or do you think he is susceptible to faltering under the pressure? He's never faced this before.
No, but of course, like I said, this is a guy, a young, brash guy who hasn't tasted defeat, who in his mind is on a course for stardom. And he is going in someone's backyard, not even with the conception of what can happen. So he's going to be fearless. He's going to go in there. He's going to be looked at. He knows he's gonna be in someone else's territory, but that's going to be the fuel for his fire. I know this because that's what it was for me. You go in there and you're going to say, I'm going to suck this up. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to show them all. It's a mindset. It's a heart thing. It's a mentality. So he's going to be brash and he's going to go in there like hits. He's the visitor, but he's going to own it. And that's what his mindset is. Now, whether it's true or not, and if Walsh could tag him and get him hurt and do things, and then everything else comes into play and he falls apart, then maybe he wasn't the mental giant as far as the elitist and as far as what he thinks his confidence level is, and he folds. I doubt that's going to happen because I think like I said, he's a young, brash, tough kid who wants to go prove that he belongs on the world stage, and he's got his buddy Floyd right there to pat him on the back and to lift him up. So I think Gervonta Davis is going to face great things when he goes over there, and he's going to suck it up in a sense where he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's going over there to win, to be a victor, and I go with that name change again. And he's going to pull it off.
Dax, another fight that's taking place this weekend, Gary Russell Jr. against Oscar Escandon. And you know, I know we probably haven't given enough attention to this fight this week as we've gotten closer. We've talked mostly about the Davis Walsh and Crawford Diaz fights. Is this fight going to be competitive? I've seen conflicting opinions of it. I mean, Oscar Escandon is not a rollover, pushover type opponent. And I have my question marks about Gary Russell Jr., but for some reason in my mind, I'm thinking it's not going to be that competitive. What's your thoughts?
Escandon has a deceiving record. His two losses, the split decision with Neomar Simano, was in Panama, Simano's home. He lost that decision to Moises Flores, who's going to be facing Rigondeaux next, and Flores is a very good fighter. But Gary Russell's so darn fast. And the question here is, can Escandon make Russell go backwards? Gary Russell has never seemed to do well going backwards. He's smaller than Russell is. Is he going to be able to jab his way in there and deal with that speed of Gary Russell Jr.? And that's going to be the biggest hurdle for him to overcome. But I think that hand speed is going to be the major difference here, and that's why I'm going to pick Gary Russell Jr. officially.
Another fight that we talked about, and I'm not even sure. I don't think you and I have talked about this fight, but Jose Uzugai against Andre Durrell for another interim belt, which is just what we need. I like the kid in this one, even though he might be biting off more than he can chew. What's your thoughts on this fight?
I alluded this slightly on Monday. Jose Uzukai against Andre Durrell is slightly less than appealing. Neither have done anything really worth speaking of. Durrell, the last time he did anything where he was of relevance was back in the Super 6, and we all know how that ended. Uzukai, though, he's limited. He is a hard puncher, but, his boxing isn't exactly what I would call world class. Andre Durrell has better hand and foot movement. I think that's going to kind of get him the win. But as we've seen in the past with Durrell, do not be surprised if Uzukai, if he hurts Durrell and he gets him kind of questioning himself, all of a sudden Andre Durrell folds, and then we see him get stopped. And I think if he comes out fast and he jumps right on Durrell, Uzukai has a very good chance of winning this. So it's a 50-50 fight. It's Andre Durrell's to lose.
We have at Madison Square Garden, David Benavidez. I'm sorry, that's a different event. But David Benavidez against Porky Medina. This is a tough one. I mean, David Benavidez is a young fighter coming up. A lot of people wanted him to get a shot. This is an elimination. Porky Medina's been around a while. He's fought some tough opposition. He's won and lost them. He's the veteran, but he's no slouch. How do you see this one going?
And David Benavidez is a big kid. He's a big super middleweight. Remember, this kid has fought highest cruiserweight in the past. This fight reminds me very much of when Porky Medina took on Gilberto Ramirez, the current WBO champion, back when Ramirez was a 20-year-old prospect, not much older than Benavidez, or maybe they're the same age. It's been a long time since Medina's been in against a top name, let alone somebody with the power of this kid. Unless Medina can take him deep. Remember, Benavidez has only gone 10 once, and that was against a B-level Dennis Duglin. He did end up getting a stoppage. If he does take him deep, will his experience against guys like Badu Jack, Yuriboy Campus, and James DeGale, and remember, he did expose Jay Leon Love, who was a hot prospect at the time. I'm going to pick Benavidez officially, but don't be surprised if Porky Medina flips the scripts and takes the win in this one. He's never a guy who shows up just for the check.
No, that's what I like about him. He's not there just for the payday. He does. You're always going to get your all with him. Anyway, and finally, the fight over on HBO at Madison Square Garden, Terrence Crawford against Felix Diaz. I love Terrence Crawford. You know that, and I think he's a pound-for-pound fighter. There's everything about his game I like. I like Terrence Crawford in and out of the ring. He's a great ambassador to the sport of boxing. But Sal and I were talking, and I read the final press conference quotes, and I'm reading between the lines, and it sounds to me, and this is just an assumption, and you know what they say about assuming, but it sounds to me that Terrence Crawford is kind of taken lightly this fight. He's looking ahead. He throws in that he'll look for 147-pound opportunities. And Diaz, he seems like he's just happy to be there. Is this going to be a competitive fight, or are we going to see Terrence Crawford do what he does? Come out a little cautious for the first 4 or 5 rounds and then lower the boom.
Diaz is a very solid boxer. He's a legitimate threat to just about anybody at welterweight or junior welterweight. But the thing with Terrence Crawford is that ability to switch up. Even though he's an orthodox fighter, Terrence Crawford is phenomenal once he switches into that southpaw stance. And that is going to totally eliminate the southpaw advantage here for Diaz. A southpaw against an orthodox fighter, always makes for a little bit difficulties there. And even though Diaz was cheated against Lamont Peterson, in my opinion, he's never faced anybody near, including Lamont Peterson, close to the skill set and power of Terrence Crawford. Despite Diaz looking well early on, Terrence Crawford's going to win this one late, and he might even win it early on. Felix Diaz, he's been talking a lot. He hasn't been exactly the most respectable. Terrence Crawford, a great kid, but he does have a mean streak in him. We know that, and we've seen that in a lot of fights. So, Terrence Crawford, I'm going to, take this, officially without question. It's just he'll decide when he's going to end it. And more Diaz speaks up until fight night, the sooner it's going to happen.
Hey, Sal,
Yes.
I have seen many, many times with fighters that, the term "we need to go rounds" is brought up with a team, prior to a fight. And, they get into a fight, and what Dax just said, he jogged my memory, which is needs to be slapped around a bit. But he says, and the thing is, when fighters think that they can take somebody out or know they can take somebody out at any time, it's their decision, et cetera, which I agree with Dax on the Terrence Crawford situation. But sometimes when you don't take care of business as quickly as you should, you're susceptible to getting caught. And I've seen it on ESPN. I heard it. A corner of the guy's going, well, you know what? You need to get some rounds in. Next thing you know, bam, the guy's knocked out, and that was the end. It was, who was it? Saddam Ali or something. But anyway, should fighters do that, or should they take care of business as soon as possible?
Boy, I couldn't say this unless I was guilty of this, and I was guilty of it. It's so funny. they should take care of business. Now that when you go in and you know you're going to be able to handle it, you just have that feeling this guy's not on your level. And can he be dangerous? Yeah, anybody could be beaten any given night. You never know. There's not a layover or a layup. Um, but I think, you know, you get the work in, you get 1, 2, 3 rounds in, keep in control. Only a fighter can feel and be astute enough to know, to be able to avoid the punches and come back and do things. I think they should take care of business, and I think, they need to, feel out their opponent 1 or 2 rounds, but if they're capable of knocking them out, don't take a chance. Go in there and end the fight because there are some different variables that the next round could bring your way that you didn't expect.
No, I agree. I think fighters need to do what they got to do. I think in Terrence Crawford's case, Dax, that he just feels out his opponents and gets his distance all set, and then he lowers the boom. But, Dax, what's your thoughts on this whole Cotto situation? Now we got these fights out of the way. I mean, Miguel Cotto reportedly broke ties with Rock Nation, still had the one fight left of his $50 million contract. Seems to me that the $50 million was mainly for the Canelo Alvarez fight, which he lost, and the guy's been out of the ring. He's number 2 diva in the sport. My hang up, like I said earlier, is just not honoring a contract. I feel that too often these fighters specifically sign deals, and it's, everybody's always feeling sorry for the fighter. Oh, the fighter's been taken advantage of. But I think that trend is reversed, and there's no repercussions. Even Canelo Alvarez, who lost his case against his previous promoter, still hasn't paid. What's your thoughts on this Cotto situation?
Well, first of all, the surprising thing is not Cotto and Rock Nation breaking ties. The surprising thing is Cotto ever signing a contract with Rock Nation in the first place. But anyhow, yes, you're absolutely right. It's become more common nowadays, and Rock Nation's biggest name, their star, Andre Ward, is another guy who has done this in the past. Now, also, what you're going to see here is, Rock Nation, other than Rigondeaux, who is going to be on the undercard of Ward against Kovalev, which kind of maybe seems, maybe they knew that this Cotto parting of ways was going to happen, and because Rigondeaux, really, he hasn't gotten a big fight in a long time. He's been fighting overseas. Now, all of a sudden, he's on the undercard of a major pay-per-view. Now you have Riaz. I think they have Maurice Hooker, Tyler McCreary, Sonny Fredrickson, Wellington Romero, and then they have Andre Ward. What's going to happen here is, because of that lack of talent pool, Andre Ward, once he knows that he is the man they all depend on if they want to stay in the boxing business, all of a sudden, something, Andre Ward is going to be the guy who that whole company's surrounded to, and then he's going to be calling the shots for everything. Watch and see that happen. And Miguel Cotto, the last time he really fought a true, other than Canelo, who I think carried Cotto a little bit, a true prime opponent was Joshua Clottey back in 2009. Even both the title wins at 154 pounds, and at the last win he got over a prime opponent was 2009. I forgot he did lose to Austin Trout. His two belts at middleweight and junior middleweight were both underneath the limit. Both were injured fighters, so something. And with the attitude, I'm really not sorry to see Miguel Cotto go. He's had a great career. He's put on a lot of exciting moments, but it's time for some new blood. We don't need that attitude in the sport. We have too many of them as it is.
I agree. Dax, any final thoughts on the fights for this weekend or any of the top news?
Yeah, the fights this weekend, what I don't understand and what frustrates me is not only here listening to you and Sal all week, but, a lot of the other sites and stuff like that. Nobody has spoken about the other fights that are going to be great. You got Rances Barthélemy stepping up against Relica. We also have the fights over in Japan. Hassan Endam taking Ryota Murura for a WBA regular middleweight title, who used to belong to Daniel Jacobs. Gannigan Lopez against Ken Shiro. Juan Hernandez Navarrete against Diego Hiaga. You have Tanaka versus Angel Acosta over in Poland. You spoke slightly about the Nogueira and Krzysztof Lodzek fight. There's Naoya Inoue against Ricardo Rodriguez, Kiri Yagasha against Milan Malindo. There's a lot of great fights this weekend, and to be honest with you, other than the Terrence Crawford fight, the best action this week is taking place over in Japan.
Yeah, that's a tough fight. That's the Hassam Nadam fight, and that fight. What turned me off, and I guess it wasn't fair to the two fighters, but what turned me off is, the WBA elevated Hassam Nadam to the champion. He was an interim champion, which they've been promising us that they were going to get rid of all the interim belts, and then they elevate him to regular champion. And by the way,
no, they didn't. This is for the vacant regular title. That title's vacant.
The title was vacated with Triple G when Triple G beat what's his name?
It's still vacant.
I read that they changed it, that they've given him the title as title holder, not interim anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, they elevated him to regular champion. He's now being classified as the regular champion, defending his title, because that's their way of saying they got rid of another interim belt. So, but the point is, my whole point is, there shouldn't have been a belt. I mean, Triple G beat Daniel Jacobs. Jacobs had the regular WBA title. And then what was the sense of fighting Triple G? Triple G already had their super title. It's BS. I can't stand it.
Well, what happens is with these super champions is they misplace their cape.
Yeah.
So they have to have the regular champion. How can you be a super champion without a cape?
No.
And from what I understand is a lot of these guys refuse to go out to the ring wearing the tights.
Yeah. But they all come out with the pound in their chest, So anyway, hey, Dax, appreciate your insight, and we'll look forward to next week on your thoughts with the fights themselves.
And Monday, and that card in Poland, just so everybody knows, look around on Facebook. From what I understand, that's going to be streamed live on Facebook tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Dax, we'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, everybody, enjoy your day.
Take care, Dax.
That's Dax Khan giving us his thoughts. And tell you what, Sal, this is right up your alley. I'm going to take a short break. But before I go, I'm going to leave you with some news.
Okay.
The Gervonta Davis-Leon Walsh fight, obviously it's taking place in England, so they are ahead of us time-wise. So it's weigh-in time. And Gervonta Davis has stepped on the scale and has not made weight. He is overweight.
Wow.
He does have 2 hours to make weight. Curious to see what happens. Hold your thoughts, because I know you. I know I can see the smoke coming from. If you take your headset off, I'm sure the smoke's coming out of your ears. We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, Sal will give us his thoughts on that, and we'll give you our final thoughts on this whole Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather signing. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you. I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show, and I'm here with my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, just before we went to break, we were talking about Gervonta Davis stepping on a scale and being slightly overweight for his showdown fight, his championship fight with Gervonta Davis. And some of the comments in the chat room already are, oh, that's a typical Floyd move. He'll pay the extra money, blah, blah, blah. But that's not so easy, because he's actually the world champion. And championship rules state that if a champion does not make weight, it's not just an issue of forking over some money. He loses his title on the scale. And, then Leon Walsh would be in position to be, if he wins the fight, to become the title holder. If he loses, the title becomes vacant. 3 ounces, he can lose that in the next 2 hours. But what's your thoughts on, just pure lack of discipline? Or could there have been, a variation in the scale? I've seen that many, many times where fighters and trainers bring a scale and they're fighting and weighing themselves on that scale, and they feel everything's great. They step on the official scale and it's different than theirs. I mean, that's always an issue as well.
Yep, absolutely. For my 14th birthday, my father bought me a medical scale that I still have. And that's why I never failed weight. And I had a little portable scale that I calculated would be pretty much dead on, that I used to bring with me to all my fights, all my wrestling matches, this and that. So I knew where I was. And that's why I never failed at making weight. And 3 ounces is nothing. In 2 hours, he should be right on weight within the hour. So, it could be just the differential between whatever scale he thought he was using, and a quarter pound is not that big of a deal to lose in 2 hours. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. But again, he should have compensated for that, so it doesn't have to be. But it adds to the drama, and hey, big deal. It's going to be what it is. But he'll make weight. He'll make it.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Sal, we've talked a lot about this farce of a fight between Conor McGregor, potential fight between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. My thoughts on this have not changed from day one.
No.
If it's an exhibition, I'm all for it. If it counts as Floyd's 50th win, I think it's a travesty, because inside a boxing ring, despite Conor McGregor's punching power, if he even has any, or his brawling, his whatever his assets are, is not going to matter, because Floyd Mayweather is too good of a boxer, especially against a one-dimensional fighter like what I'm assuming Conor McGregor is. I've seen some footage of him sparring. It's just not going to be a competitive fight, and I think most people will believe that. Now, whether they buy it or not is a whole nother story. They may buy it for the entertainment value, which I can't even see it being entertaining. watching Floyd run and pick a shot here and there and control the ring in a boring fashion, much like most of his fights are. I just don't see a value in this fight. And then when you add all of the other tangibles, if they come to a financial agreement with Floyd, if a commission will sanction the fight, if it will be an exhibition or not. I mean, all these things to me equate to this fight just not happening. I think talking about the fight keeps Floyd's name in the limelight, helps any of his other fighters like Gervonta Davis, and it also helps Conor McGregor and Dana White and Dana White's UFC. What's your thoughts on all these issues?
A lot of issues. And, one of my coined favorite sayings is, this just appears to be a lot of the fluff without the stuff. And I think this is all part of the massaging of the thought process here, their teasing of the fans, and the marketing aspect of what we're going to do here and how it's going to evolve and what is going to be the final picture, what it's going to look like. And if they do get together, I mean, there's so many ways that this could pan out. Maybe it's going to be an exhibition. Maybe they're going to do 1 round MMA, 1 round boxing. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't want to see it count as Floyd's 50th victory. That's for darn sure. And I really don't think there's any commission in the world that will sanction it to be so. I don't know what they're doing, but they're getting the attention because we're talking about it every day. And for whatever purposes, if it does come out to be a fight, you're going to see a matador in with a bull, because you're going to see Conor McGregor disregarding anything that Floyd's going to try to do, and don't be surprised if he's going to charge and just run and just flail away, and almost like a backyard fight, just to try and catch Floyd. I mean, he's going to be a bully like that. He could probably do that. And Floyd's going to be smooth and dancing and rolling the shoulders and hitting him, picking him apart. But Conor McGregor may not just allow that to happen. And he may just try to say, hey, I'm here. I'm going to charge like a bull, and I'm just going to flail away. I don't care what the end result is, but I'm going to be standing. You never know.
I heard an interesting comment from Max Kellerman yesterday. And yes. He said, how people are always talking about, fighters having a good chin. Oh, he's got a good chin. He's got a good chin. And he said, what makes a good chin is a good defensive fighter that doesn't get hit on it. And he said, so Floyd Mayweather has a good chin. And, at first, when he first said it, I'm like, no, Floyd doesn't have a good chin. But then after I let it, sink in for a little bit, I think he's right. And the point that he was making was that as tough as Conor McGregor is, because a lot of people say, well, Conor McGregor, in MMA, he takes shots, he could take punishment, and he walks through them and goes in and takes out his opponent. And his game plan, should they get in the ring, could very well be that, walk through Floyd's punches and get him to a point where he could try to land a lucky shot. But if Floyd is able to pick him apart, like I know he can, and, hit him. You see, the big thing that I always complain about Canelo Alvarez is that he's not effective landing punches while he's on the move. Floyd Mayweather is. He can pinpoint his shots while he's backing up and moving from side to side. And the shots that he will be landing on Conor McGregor, while Conor's trying to get into him, are going to take its toll. I don't see this fight being competitive in the least bit way. If you want to give Conor McGregor a puncher's chance, I agree. He's got a puncher's chance. In boxing, everybody that's got some power has a puncher's chance. But when you're fighting against a guy like Floyd Mayweather, who's made a career out of avoiding getting hit, and in my opinion, fights boring fights, but it's because he's avoiding getting hit and he's not in a position to really inflict damage on his opponent, that's what we're going to see. We're going to see Floyd controlling the ring. We're going to see Floyd picking his shots. And as long as Floyd does not get greedy and try to go for the stoppage, we're going to see Floyd win a decision. And then the whole issue of Conor McGregor even being able to go 12 rounds is a whole other issue. Whether maybe the fight's not even 12 rounds. Maybe they agree to a 10-round fight. I don't know. But I don't see the fight being competitive at all. And I don't think that most people are going to want to see it. Maybe for the circus fact, maybe for the WWE factor. I don't know. But I certainly hope it doesn't get signed, Sal. I really do, because I think it's a travesty for the sport of boxing.
I believe you're right, and that's why I concur with what you're saying. But if this does get signed, and if it does materialize into a fight, uh, people are going to buy it because they've been talking about it. It's going to be the shock appeal. It's going to be the unknown result. It's going to be a lot of reasons people are going to buy it. Again, they're putting out the bait casting net, and people are going to be swimming underneath it, and they're going to be yanked right into the boat. And I don't know why I use that analogy. I guess because I live by the water. But anyway, and I see it happening. And if it does get signed, sealed, they're going to deliver. And you know what? I got to tell you something. Conor McGregor's only chance. Do you remember when we just saw that heavyweight championship fight and Joshua came out charged just in that one round when he dropped Kovalev? And it's like,
Klitschko.
wow, this. Sorry,
Klitschko.
Yes, thank you for the correction. Got my K's mixed up. Anyway, so he came in and he just, he just decided, okay, this is the round. The fight's over. I'm gonna drop you. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna see. I'm going to give you a depiction. Conor McGregor's only chance to land anything is going to be when that bell first rings. Him coming out, as we saw Joshua, times 10. He's going to charge after Mayweather. He's not going to care what he's going to eat at punches. He's just going to go right from the stool, and he's going to go right from the corner, and he's going to charge, wade through anything. I don't care if he has to get physical, throw Floyd into the corner, and he's going to flail away. That's the only way. That's what I see happening on McGregor's term. And otherwise, Floyd's going to be the matador. He's going to move. He's going to roll those shoulders. He's going to pick them apart. McGregor is not going to let that happen. He's going to try and charge like a bull, flail away, do what he's got to do, and be physical against Floyd. That's his only way to win. That's his only way to get lucky, and that's what he's going to do. That's his game plan.
He's got a better chance of hitting the lotto. With luck, Floyd Mayweather will pick him apart, and Floyd Mayweather will know that Conor McGregor will be charging him. So this is all in Floyd's favor. There's nothing unless somebody. Unless there's a sniper in the stands and they shoot Mayweather, he's not going to. He's not going to. Conor. And listen, nobody will be rooting for Floyd to get knocked out more than me, only because I can't stand the cherry picking, especially if this is for his 50th fight. But 50th win. But I don't even see the fight happening. I think logistically, there's too much. And the commission that approves it will be under fire. But
you're right, 100%. Yeah.
Anyway, we got our trivia question. Now, I want to point something out. I've gotten a couple of messages and emails about the previous trivia question and what the answer was. Well, I've purposely not given you the answer because I'm going to ask it again. All right. Normally, I do give out the answers when we stump you guys, but not this time. Because I was harassed so much. I won't mention any names, but his initials are Kevin, and he's in the chat room right now. I was harassed so much about bringing the trivia question back that I'm going to bring that one back again. But we got another one. Now, I want to thank everybody that sent their answers. We haven't gotten a correct answer, but these answers were all great. And some of them actually were pretty surprising that they weren't the right answer. A fight between Tommy Hearns and Roberto Duran seems to be one of the most popular answers that you guys have sent. And I would agree that that was a huge height difference, but not the correct one. What's the question? Well, here it is. The question is, and I want to thank my man Henry for sending us this question. The question is, what is the biggest height difference between two men in the same division for a world title fight, excluding the heavyweight division? So excluding the heavyweight division, what is the biggest height difference between two men in the same division for a world title fight? If you know this answer, and you're the first one to email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing. That's TALKINBOXING.com. You'll win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. I will ask you, Sal, if you've been able to find the answer to this. What is the biggest difference between two men in the same division for a world title fight, excluding the heavyweight division?
My canned answer is not applicable. But I mean, what was the difference between Alexis Arguello and Boom Boom Mancini? I don't know. I would think Tommy Hearns has to be one of the fighters there. Other than that, I'm at a loss. This is a pretty good question. Thank you, Henry.
All right, so there you have it. Sal can't help none of you guys out. So the question is, if you're the first one to email me, Billy at Talkin Boxing, TALKINBOXING.com, with the answer to this question, which is excluding. That means not counting for all you people out there. Excluding the heavyweight division, what is the biggest height difference between two men in the same division fighting for a world title? If you know this answer and you're the first one to email me, Billy at Talkin Boxing, that's TALKINBOXING.com, you'll win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. On this day, May 19th, in boxing history, in 1985, Wilfredo Gomez wins a 15-round decision over Rocky Lockridge to win the WBA World Junior Lightweight title. It took place in Puerto Rico. On this day in 1972, Clemente Sanchez knocks out Kiyaka Shibata in the third round to win the WBC World Featherweight title, and that took place in Tokyo. On this day in 1952, Yoshiro Shirari wins a 15-round decision over Dado Marino to win the World Flyweight title, and that took place in Tokyo, Japan as well. On this day in 1984, Francisco Juarez knocks out Lupi Madara in the ninth round to win the WBA World Junior Flyweight title, and that took place in Venezuela. On this day in 1967, Curtis Coates knocks out Francois Pavilla in the 10th round to retain his WBC and his WBA World Welterweight titles, and that took place in Dallas, Texas. And finally, on this day, May 19th, in 1909, the late, great Jack Johnson retains the World Heavyweight title as a result of a 6-round draw with Philadelphia Jack O'Brien in their fight that took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And that's what took place on this day, May 19th, in boxing history. Sal, make sure you watch the fights this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And I am sure that we'll have a lot to talk about on Monday. And for everyone else, I hope you guys enjoy the fights this weekend and try to watch as many as you can. And make sure that you tune in Monday morning, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'm laughing because I swear to God, he knows he's getting ready to listen to the kazoo. But make sure you turn.
I'm giving you that. I'm like your dog. I'm trained. That's why I said it.
I'll tell you the truth. It's great stuff. But make sure you tune in Monday morning, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.